You'll make sure to treat our VIP well, won't you? The receptionist pressed her lips together before turning to give me a smile and a slight nod. Of course, Ms. Ravenwood. I'll personally see to it that we get this done right away, and I'll even help you with filling out the paperwork. Right this way, ma'am. I'll take you to the insemination room and one of our doctors will be with you as soon as they can. Thank you. I smiled sweetly, batting my lashes slightly before rounding the counter to follow the receptionist. The manager was right. Who were they to stand in the way of my happiness? All right, Ms. Ravenwood. The doctor smiled, wheeling herself over to the foot of the examination table as she pulled on her latex gloves with a snap. It's a relatively straightforward process, so this shouldn't hurt at all. If anything, you'll feel a little pinch, but that'll be it. If you feel uncomfortable at any time, just let me know and we can take a break. Okay. I kept my eyes trained on the black and white monitor as I laid on the table, reaching down to adjust my dressing gown slightly to keep it from sliding down all the way and exposing me even more to the doctor. My legs were already in stirrups. I really didn't need to be in an even more vulnerable position than I already was. Perfect. Here we go. The hum of the fluorescent light on the ceiling was the only thing I could hear, and I let out a little breath before folding my hands over my lap. My lips parted as I watched the sperm being injected into my body, my legs fighting the urge to clamp shut at the foreign feeling of being inseminated this way. And done. The doctor reached up to help me pull my dressing gown down before unclasping my ankles from the stirrups. See, not so hard was it? How long will it take before I know I'm pregnant? I asked, turning to look at her when she reached over to switch the monitor off. At least 10 days, ma'am. If it doesn't work, we'll have to try another insemination. I nodded in understanding but hoped that I'd get lucky on the first go and it would work. I really hated being in stirrups. Prince Isaac. The beta dipped his head in acknowledgement as Isaac Thorne stepped into the meeting room. Isaac brushed past him before taking a seat at the head of the table. The youngest son of the Leaking King. The only reason why he'd paid a visit to the werewolf kingdom was for one reason, and one reason only. He needed an heir. He was the only prince without a Luna, and he knew that this wasn't exactly the best look for him and his family. And so, for the sake of succession, he chose to use a surrogate. Even though surrogacy was technically illegal in Leakin's country, what his family and the people didn't know wouldn't hurt them, right? How much longer until the surrogate mother is ready? Isaac asked, inspecting his cuticles before glancing over at the beta, who continued to stand obediently by the double doors. He wanted to know how soon he'd be able to confirm the woman he had seen at the Wolf Reproductive Center was pregnant. It was odd, though. She didn't seem like the type to be a surrogate mother. Based on the short interaction they had, he could already tell that she was stronger than any she-wolf Isaac had ever met. She'll be here soon, sir. The beta swallowed nervously, his throat bobbing. Just then, there was a gentle knock at the door, and the beta perked up before reaching over to open it. Isaac turned his head, his eyebrows furrowing in confusion when a stranger stepped into the room. She offered him a polite smile before folding her hands in front of her, keeping her gaze lowered. Out of all the candidates you had me meet with, this young woman was the most promising surrogate mother I'd screened. The beta cleared his throat with a proud smile on his face, gesturing to the young woman. I have her file as well, if you'd like to take a look for yourself. And if you're satisfied with her, we can proceed with the surrogacy right away, sir. But Isaac's eyes flickered off to the side as he slowly sat up straighter in his chair, his lips parting to say something before he pressed them together. He looked at the young woman standing by the door, taking a second to process what the hell was happening before. Oh, no, that he'd made a mistake. A very, very big mistake. Welcome home, ma'am. The maid greeted me lightly as she helped me with my coat, slipping it off my shoulders and folding it over her forearm. Your father's been asking where you've been. Really? I didn't know he was home. I hummed. My father, Sir Oliver, had always been out on business trips for as long as I could remember, and it honestly felt like a rarity for him to be home at all. All right, well, let him know I'm going to rest for a bit, and then I'll come and see him. Yes, ma'am. The maid nodded, and I gave her a smile of acknowledgement before turning to head down the hall. After my visit to the Wolf Reproductive Center this afternoon, I couldn't help but feel a little bit sleepy. So much had happened within these last few days, and all I wanted was to take a short nap, to briefly forget about my cheating husband and the fact that I could become a single mother soon. I placed a hand on my stomach as I made my way down the hallway to my bedroom, and Bianca. Father's deep voice rang out from his office, stopping me in my tracks. I let out a small huff. I'd hoped he wouldn't recognize the sound of my footsteps passing by his doors. Come in here for a second. I chewed on the inside of my cheek, contemplating whether or not to tell him about my divorce from Mason. I knew that I had to tell him sooner or later. He definitely wouldn't like the unexpected news, but in my defense, none of this was my fault. If he had a bone to pick, he could do so with Mason and Vera, not me. Okay, Bianca. Just be calm and collected. I cleared my throat quietly as I smoothed down the front of my dress, knocking on the slightly parted door gently before pushing it open with a creak. Father, I greeted, bowing my head slightly as I entered the room. Father nodded in acknowledgement from where he sat at the desk, before beckoning me forward, taking his glasses off and setting them down on his desk. I didn't realize you were home, but I'm glad you are, as I have something I've been meaning to tell you. I could feel my heart thrumming steadily in my chest, a little nervous under the unwavering gaze of my father. I just had to get this over with. It would be like ripping off a Band-Aid. A little sting at first, but then I'll be glad I did it at all. And what's that? Mason and I will be getting a divorce, I announced as calmly as I could, folding my hands in front of myself as I stood at his desk. Father always said that speaking calmly and clearly exuded confidence. And in this moment, I had to be confident. You don't have an option to do that. Father interrupted, his tone distant and icy as he picked his glasses back up, propping them up on the tip of his nose as he brought his attention back to the book he'd been reading before I came in. Divorce? Please, don't bring shame upon this family. You must maintain your dignity. The Leakin Prince will be visiting soon, and you will attend the social dinner at Mason's side as his loyal wife. I blinked owlishly at Father, letting out a light scoff and resisting the urge to roll my eyes. Are you kidding me? Mason had betrayed me by having an affair with Vera, and yet, in the name of dignity, I didn't have the option to divorce him, and I had to attend the event with him? Father, Vera is pregnant, I exclaimed. And if she wants to steal my husband, I'm perfectly fine with that. Let her be with Mason. The two of them can live happily together. I don't care. You'll cause a scandal, and I won't allow you to destroy the family's reputation. Father's eyes flickered from his book back up to me, and I found myself shutting up instantly. Somehow, no matter how old I was, I always felt like a petulant child under his gaze. I am the werewolf president, and you are my daughter. Upholding the family's dignity is your duty. You will care for Vera's child, Bianca. Though Father spoke as if this was all for the sake of dignity, his immediate defense and lack of discipline for Vera made me realize just how unconditionally he'd favored my stepsister. I couldn't even be surprised, as this had always been the case. I'd spent my entire life shackled to dignity, constantly striving to please him and my whole family, sacrificing everything and doing anything they expected me to. Meanwhile, Vera had grown up freely, completely unbound by any such constraints. It wasn't fair. It simply wasn't fair. If it were Vera standing in front of you accusing her husband of cheating with her sister, what would you do?